Starting my week with a bit of knitting drama. I've been working for a while on the Damson bonnet, which is like a Wool & Gang Damson Matter collab. It's through the first panel, so this is supposed to be like one side of the hood, right? Super cute, very excited about the stripes. I go to make the other panel for the other side and it ends up like this. Are we seeing how it is dramatically a different size? Okay. So I did this and I'm like, okay, I'm using a paper pattern, which I don't usually do. The Wool & Gang kits come with these like paper pattern books and I wasn't marking anything in the book. So I was like, maybe I accidentally did one of the instructions too many times. There's 2 more stripes on this one than this one. So I was like, maybe I just read things wrong and I went too far, added too many stripes. Let me try again, read very diligently, maybe make some markings in the book and see what happens. So I try to make that second panel again and it ends up the exact same, which means that I was wrong on the first one, but I've redone the second one twice. So I think I had maybe a similar but the opposite issue on the first one, that I skimmed over an instruction that said like repeat this step and I didn't repeat it enough times because yeah, this is too small, and because the increases and decreases go separate ways on either side, I now have 2 that are correct but they're from the same side, so I can't like put them together, you know? They work it very quickly and I'm liking the stripes, so I'm not mad about having to redo it again. That's what I'm telling myself as I sit here with 3 pieces of bonnet that make no bonnet. I might frog this back and add it to the yarn that I have left, and I think that I might have enough to make 2 full bonnets. The kit comes with 4 full balls of Feeling Good yarn. It's so fluffy. I think it's gonna be really nice for this piece, and yeah, I just feel like I haven't gone through that much of it to get this much bonnet. So whatever, it'll only take a few hours to make another side, but that has been a little bit of like drama for the beginning of the week because I very excitedly last night, Sunday evening, was finishing this panel piece and I was like, oh, so exciting, like tomorrow I can stitch it together and start working on the ribbing around the face. At like 10 p.m. I realized that it was the incorrect size and number of stripes and whatever, and I was like, this is a problem for tomorrow. So here I am with no solution, but very excited for this color scheme. So obviously you see the stripes are gonna be on the side of the face. 2 skeins that I haven't cracked open yet. So around the face, I'm going to do a red ribbing, which I think looks super cute with this color scheme. And the bow around the neck is going to be this blue. Cute, right? So you can see why I was excited and I wanted to get it done so I could start wearing it. I think I probably need another day or 2 on it, and hopefully by the end of this vlog, I'm styling it. Other projects that I have in the works are new patterns for the next issue of Material Girls. The sewing pattern for this one is actually going to be a hand sewing pattern. I've made these little charms for a while. The first time I think I did a workshop with this was last Christmas with Kate Spade. We did these as bag charms. I recently did that again with Trade as like an upcycling workshop. So we were using all upcycled and scrap materials to make these. Here's another little one, but basically all you do is you use scraps of fabric and you cut out a shape that you like, you blanket stitch around 2 of them and then stuff them to make these little charms. I stuff mine, sometimes if I have polyfill around, I'll use that. But to avoid buying new, you can also just use fabric scraps. All of these were done with fabric scraps and I think they're still like plenty fluffy. But yeah, they're super fun, a very like beginner friendly little stitching project. So I'm going to make a few more of these and turn them into a garland because the theme for the next issue of the magazine is hosting. All the patterns are gonna be like things that you could put around your home when you're hosting something. So a garland would be like decor. I'm working on a crochet pattern that is gonna be involved in like a table setting. And then I have a concept for the knitting pattern, but I haven't quite started working on it yet. I think I'm gonna start that tomorrow or the next day. So you'll see it. The holidays are coming up, everyone has different traditions, but usually around this time people are doing some level of hosting, so I'm excited to put a Material Girl spin on that with some fun shapes and colors. I have lots of pictures of examples from doing this at past workshops. I've obviously made a bunch as well myself, but I'm going to make some for a tutorial. And just for fun, so that I have a full garland hanging around my house as well. I've only ever done them as single ones and used them as bag charms. I think they'd be cute ornaments as well, or like bag tags. Imagine if you like stitched someone's name across the front of it before you blanket stitched it together. That could be a cute gift tag. It's just cute, right? These are so fast. Like you can make a few in the afternoon, give them out as little gifts or yeah, little things to do with parties. So that's the concept. Gonna be working on a few more of these this week, and I think Grace and I might take an evening sometime soon to make a bunch of them to have around the house like as decor. They're beginner friendly, so I think these would make a good kind of like pre-holidays craft party if that's something that you're into. Yeah, just fun, like so many options with these. So I've been looking at these, thinking about other shapes I want to do and which other ones I want to make. Filming setup drop. We're doing a sewing tutorial today. It's on this tripod that hooks onto the side of my table. Light up here that has different settings, fancy stuff. And here's what we're working on. So I already showed all my little blanket stitch charms and I'm making a tutorial on how to make one from scratch. This one's gonna be a bow and I already feel like it's gonna be my favorite. It's so cute. And I'm gonna put these all in a garland together, the 2 different plaids going together and then having some similar like red and pink colors in these. I just feel like it's gonna be a great pattern mixing situation. So I'm kind of mid tutorial there. I have over here my little template that I made. And then embarrassingly, I am watching one of my own tutorials to do this. I made this tutorial last year when I did these bag charms for a Kate Spade workshop. And it's not even public on YouTube, it was just something that I made a QR code for so that I could like play in the space on a screen so people could watch it. I haven't done a blanket stitch for a second, so I'm recreating now a tutorial that will be on the Public Material Girls YouTube channel, so I just wanna make sure I don't miss any steps. It's so funny watching my own stuff back because sometimes I'll look at it and be like, oh my gosh, I've learned so much since then. Sometimes I watch it back and I'm like, wow, that was kind of smart. Like, why don't I remember how to do that? So yes, we're recreating the tutorial. This one was just like a blanket stitch. I'm gonna make a more like full one that shows the whole process of like cutting pieces out, making templates, a bag charm specifically versus just showing how to do the stitch. While we're here, I'm precariously balancing this on my water bottle. Bonnet update. I worked on this a bit last night and this morning, and I have a second side and it is the correct size. So we've got this one. This is the one I just finished. And then this one, which it will face like that. Look at them, they match. My dreams of being able to get 2 bonnets out of this kit have died. I did have to frog one of my sides in order to make enough. So I have these 2 balls that I'm like working on now. Probably just frog this third one as well so that I can actually get back to using the yarn. We'll see what we can do with that, but for now at least I have a successful version of my own bonnet, and I'll probably seam this up and do some of the face stuff tomorrow. I have what I think should be an incredibly easy, quick DIY project. I want to make some placemats for our table. I think eventually I'll make some nicer ones, but we have people coming over for dinner this weekend and we have this beautiful glass table but no placemats, which is just not really the dinner party vibe, so I'm gonna quick make a few. I have this striped fabric, which I think is super cute, and then some denim fabric, and I think those go kind of well together. I think I might do 2 and 2, and then I'm just gonna serge the edges in white thread, which I actually think will be really nice. I'd eventually love to make more intricate placemats, but I think these will do the job and I think they'll look good at the table. Anyway, we have some workshopping to do first. So I cut out 2 pieces here. These are approximately like 14 by 18 inches, and I wanna make sure they fit on the table because this is a circle. Here's the table, cute, right? We just got these orange chairs from IKEA, and the silver ones we got a while ago on Facebook Marketplace, which is also where we found this amazing table. It's vintage, it's massive, it's super heavy, it has this amazing base on it. Anyway, if we can turn our attention to the placemats, they're too big. It's not a very big table, it seats 4 people. I would love for these not to be touching. Maybe that's inevitable a bit on a circular table, but I'm also just feeling like they're bigger than they need to. Like, I don't think my plates are that big. Okay, I went and got plates and made a little place setting to see here, and it looks like, yeah, this is way bigger than it needs to be. So I think I'm going to shave off a good 3 inches from the side. The top can't take quite as much off, 1.5 inches, and see if that makes it fit a little bit better with the 2 of these. I hope my lines are straight. I'm kind of just winging it here. I think these will make great day-to-day placemats, and then I think for fancier ones, I mean, there's all sorts of different things that I could do, but I do want to make a version of the girl dinner placemats, which is a pattern that I made for Material Girls a while ago. And like the pinky shades that I originally made that one in because it doesn't really fit like Grace and I's interior color scheme. But I think with some like oranges and blues, that could be really nice. But I don't have the time for all the patchwork today. So much better. I'm very happy with this. Look at that little peak of table that we're getting. Glad I trimmed those down. They're now about 15 by 12 inches. Okay, hopefully that's the last decision I have to make. I'm going to grab these and my denim and go to the sewing machine. I think my serger was such a good investment, especially for projects like this. Every time I do something like this now, I'm like, imagine if I had to sit and like iron and fold over and hem all of my edges properly. It's so nice to be able to just like all over them. Serger came pre-threaded with white thread and I've never changed it. I did have to rethread one of them once, so I know that I can do it, and this one's super helpful because it has a bunch of different diagrams on the inside when you open it up to show where everything should be fed, so it's actually fine. But I've been kind of purposely choosing projects that I want white edges on because I don't really feel like rethreading the whole thing. I have black spools, but I don't have any other colors. Cut all my pieces. Look how pretty this denim is. So dark and nice. I hope it doesn't blend in with the table too much. It just kind of like ties it in, but don't those look nice together? Okay, I'm gonna start with this guy. That'll do it, right? Okay, I'm gonna gonna finish it up and I'll show you how it looks. Placemat reveal, she's cute. Obviously I'll press it when they're all done. I'll press them before we put them out. I keep doing that for all of them and then I'll show you what the full table looks like. Ta-da, so cute. I like how they look together. I like how they look all around. How it looks with the orange chairs with the rest of our little nook. And it really did take like about 20 minutes, so I'll call that a successful project. So today's activity is I need to wind up these hanks of yarn without a yarn winder. I've never bought one before because honestly I don't buy hanks very often. This lovely yarn shop in Amsterdam recently sent me a bunch of beautiful hanks in like different whites and pinks and stuff, and I want to use them for a Material Girls pattern that I'm about to draft. And the few hanks that I have gotten before, I know this hack where if you sit down and you kind of unwind it into a circle like this and you put it around your knees, you can wind it up. I usually encounter some sort of like knot that helps keep it in place, and it's done the job for me with the few hanks I have had to do. You know, if you have a yarn winder, if you think it's like a worthwhile investment. I mean, it must have to do with how often you're unwinding hanks, but sometimes I'm like, oh, I should just get one. And other times I'm like, no, if you have, you know, 10 minutes, just do it this way. So what I'm going to be making with this is I've made an alphabet of duplicate stitch letters in this like cursive font, which I think is super cute. And I'm going to make a few squares of those, demonstrating different letters, mostly to make the video tutorial that is going to go in the magazine that will show how to duplicate stitch. And the idea, since this issue is all about hosting, is that you can make these as really quick but like customized DIY like gifts for people. So I am actually having a dinner party this weekend and I think I might make everyone's first initial on one of these to put as like place cards, and then it's also something they can take home. It's about to be the holidays, so I think these would make cute gift tags as well. I also just love duplicate stitching. I haven't done it in a while, and I've only ever designed one with bubble letters for my boyfriend-girlfriend sweaters, which is fun, but I was thinking it'd be fun to experiment with a different font. Oh my gosh, I said all this about this being like super easy, and now it's kind of falling over the place and I'm realizing it's actually a lot of yarn to get through. I wanted to do 3 because I have this white one, which at first I was like, oh, just do a white background with pink letters, classic Material Girls. They sent so many different skeins that are all kind of the same width. I was like, why not? A little striped background could be fun. So I'm thinking like a white and beige stripe in the background so that the pink letters still stand out, and then some sort of trim around the edge. It probably will be a crochet trim. I'm curious how many people who read Material Girls like knit and crochet and sew. So I think it's pretty normal to have one of those things that is like your primary craft or something that you like the most or do the most often or learn first or whatever. But honestly, I just love a crochet trim, and I love adding a crochet trim to knitting because I find it so much easier than doing like an I-cord trim. Every time I do it, I'm like, oh, am I making this like harder for some people to make? Like what if they don't have crochet hooks because they don't crochet, or if they don't want to make this because they don't want to learn that new skill? I don't know, let me know if you have thoughts. I love to combine mediums, but I also realize that not everyone like knows all these mediums, so. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Obviously these are not finished balls of yarn. I realized that it was gonna take a while. I just wound up enough of each color that I think I can get through a sample to see what it's looking like. And then over here I have all the rest of my hanks, hopefully not getting knotted and ready for when I have another minute to put them all together into balls. Designing the letters was kind of like the major design step here. Actually, let me pull mine up. But now it's just a matter of making a little swatch to stitch into. So we're doing a swatch that is 18 stitches wide by 12 stitches tall. They're kind of wide letters because you're like cursiving across. And I'm gonna try it on 5mm needles. This is worsted weight yarn, which I feel like would usually work for that. I might want it a little bit tighter though, we'll see. I think I'm gonna switch colors. I wanna do it a few times, so maybe every 3 rows. Because if it's 12 rows, then I'll have 2 stripes of each color. Or should I do it even more often? Maybe more often. Every 2 rows so that I get through 6 stripes. Okay, I'm gonna stockinette stitch that for a sec and get back to you when it's time to duplicate stitch. All right, I can already tell I'm gonna wanna double this up. So I have my duplicate stitch needle ready here. Here's my little swatch, looking a little dinky, but I guess that's kind of the point, is you could do it with like bigger yarn if you wanted it to be bigger. This is definitely gonna need to be blocked. This is just a sample. I'm thinking I might go down to 4mm needles for the next one just because it does have a bit of space in it, but also I'm not mad about it. 2, 3, 4, and then up to the 5th stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, one done. Ta-da! And now I'm just gonna keep following my little graph here. I'm obsessed with duplicate stitching. I find it so just like meditative and easy. and a fun way to add color to stuff. I guess technically you could use these charts as intarsia charts as well and just knit a swatch that already has the color in it. But I just like this process so much better than like having multiple balls of yarn getting all knotted up behind your work and having to carry stuff. We're just halfway through my letter and honestly, she's not looking very good. Learning a few things. This is why we make samples, and if anything, this is a pretty easy sample to make because I've been doing this for maybe 5 minutes, so I'm pretty quickly realizing what needs to be changed and I can pivot when I do my next one. But here's how she's looking. I definitely want to go down a size in the needles because I think the stitches are just looking a little bit wide and disconnected. Miscounted when I started and went a few columns over too much, so this is definitely going to run into my edge here, which that's not necessarily a mistake with the design, just with my counting today. Also not really loving the stripes. I think it's a little bit more distracting than I expected it to be. I thought this kind of orangey and white feel more like in the background, and I guess they do. I mean, you can still really see the pink on there, but I do think that since the pattern is already kind of cursive-y, and from that like cursive that's broken down into blocks, we don't need any extra distractions. I want it to be like clear, obviously, what letters there are, so probably the next one I will try just a blank white background. Okay, kind of a flop. I'm not gonna even like weave the ends in on this one because this is not like something I would consider a final sample. You can see the A, right? I hope you can tell that's an A. Not loving the stripes. I think it's a little bit too distracting, and also I just don't really like the look of it. So I'm gonna do just white for the background of the next one. I will say I did this whole thing in like 15 minutes from making the swatch to duplicate stitching. So I definitely have lots of like time to riff. That might be a project for later this evening. But hopefully I have some cute tags coming your way. Not gonna lie, I kind of expected this to be a like first time's a charm, and I make immediately one that I want to take a picture of and put in the magazine. Disappointed that that is not the case, but whatever, I can spend another 15 minutes perfecting it. I have a few finished craft updates, starting with the bonnet. I wore it out for the first time this morning. So cute. Honestly, I like it so much as a hood. Like, isn't that cute? Just the little stripes, especially with like this jacket and stuff. I have it as a little bow now, but earlier I was also just wearing it with a knot, and that was super cute. So yes, in the end, I had to make 4 different panels when actually only needed 2 because I, you know, messed up the first one, thought I messed up the second one, ended up needing to redo both of them. We got there. It was a super fun project. I love the colors, how they all come together. Loving pattern mixing. A little stripe with a little plaid. This was my outfit of the day for going to the Woolwich Contemporary Print Fair. Grace and I just went to take a look. It's all these different galleries and some independent artists who share print work, and they had demonstrations going on. I love printmaking, so I took a bunch of pictures of stuff just to be like inspired by, and I'll add them to Pinterest boards, and yeah, it really made me miss my like printmaking days in college. I need to find a place where I can get access to like some printmaking stuff in London because I don't know, it's one of those things where it's like you just don't have a printing press at home, but there are certainly people in the city who are doing that, so I want to find a place. But yeah, it was super fun to like feel reconnected to that and wear a little fun outfit and go out and see that this morning. I also finished my knit swatches, and I have an amazing before and after. So obviously the last one you saw was this atrocity, not at all what I was looking for. And then ta-da! I made this one. It turned out way better. Like one of those spot the difference games. So I didn't actually change anything with the duplicate stitch of the letter. Just obviously I didn't do stripes for the background, and I added a few rows to the top and bottom so it felt like a more, yeah, just like solid swatch. When I was making this on the computer, it looked like there was enough space on the top and bottom, but then in reality there just really wasn't. So I think this one's cuter. It's the white background, and then I did a crochet trim around the edge. So I'm gonna make a few more of these to photograph for the magazine. I think that looks much sweeter. You can read the A much better. I haven't even like woven in my ends or anything yet, and I should block it so that it sits like a little square, but much happier with this one. It's actually been weirdly hot in London, but it's like autumn, so I want to wear a bonnet and a leather jacket. I've been living in this outfit lately. I made this top earlier this autumn. Like I said, it's still actually quite warm outside, so this has still worked pretty well even though it's sleeveless. And this is a Damson Matter skirt. One more random little piece of fiber art that I was doing this morning was I made another placemat because we have another dinner party this weekend. Very exciting to have some more friends coming over for an American Thanksgiving because Grace and I are both going back to the States to celebrate like actual Thanksgiving with our American families this year. We have some friends who are not American who have never experienced an American Thanksgiving about to start cooking all afternoon actually to make different things. We really wanted to do like all of the classic American stuff for this. So the pie crust is done. I think she's about to start some like chocolate filling, but that's looking really good. We have 5 people coming and I only had 4 placemats, so I made another one. And here's the table is looking. We actually were just at a little glass shop and got some colored candles. So I think we might swap those out, and we have a little picture. Maybe I'll insert a picture when we have everything all set up because I'm really excited about the various little pieces of glassware. We have some like cute cups and yeah, dishes that we're gonna put out, but I think it's kind of cute, all layered together. Time to get cooking. I wrote out a timeline in my book here because we have one oven and like 4 different dishes that need to get in there but come out warm at the same time, you know? We did some mapping out yesterday and I think we have a plan. In a few days, it's officially winter. It's very cold outside. I'm coming to you by the light of my new Christmas tree. Very exciting. I have new nails, a new cough, so excuse my horsey voice, but I wanted to share about this book that I read. It's called Made in Patriarchy by Cheryl Buckley, and it's less than 100 pages long. It's like a little essay manifesto about women in design. It starts off by saying that the contributions that women have made to design are consistently either ignored or just not fully explored and appreciated. And often that's because throughout history, the design that women have been doing has been happening in the home versus in more public spaces where men have been designing things and getting attention for it. It talks a lot about how we place capitalistic value on objects as well. How things that women were making for their families and making in the home were not considered like valuable pieces or a valuable market in the same way that men designing things to be sold were. The author argues that women have made critical contributions to design history and that this should be reflected in the way that we teach design, the way we talk about it, the way we critique it, and that if when talking and thinking about design, we considered the way things were made, the conditions they were made in, who they were made by, processes they were made with, that naturally women's design would come more to the forefront because there's often very interesting stories about how women design things, and if we focus more on the process than the product, we would leave more room for women's design to shine. So very interesting, quick read, definitely recommend it. Anyway, I have hot chocolate here, so I'm going to enjoy that in front of the tree. Grace just came in and I might do some knitting tonight, so stay tuned for what my next project is. See you later.